Whenever we're ready.
Again.
It's probably a sewer truck. It's pumping out someone's shit. We get trucks on this road. You can't barely fit two cars.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck it. Hello, everyone. Frank and Darren here. We're continuing with our Halloween franchise by looking at the best and worst moments of Halloween 2. You and I, we had so much fun with the first one. We're going to have fun with all of them, but I want to ask you.
I think they will get progressively more fun as we go along.
Or we're going to get progressively pissed as it gets later on.
This show, the viewing figures for this show is just going to go down and down as we get to the likes of Halloween Resurrection.
You picked that as the best moment? So I'm going to ask you this time. In Halloween 2, what is your best character? What is the best character? Who is the best character for you, I should say?
It's unfortunately, it's the same as character that I picked for the last show, for the best and worst of Halloween 1, and that's Loomis. Because this movie is kind of the start of him becoming. I mean, he's unhinged anyway, but he's becoming more unhinged in this movie and more obsessive. His obsession with Michael it really starts to consume him in this film. Our first sort of moment where we recognize this is when we see him down the end of the street shouting at Brackett. I shot him 6 times. I shot him in the heart. And you can see that he's really starting to. We've seen the early stages of him starting to lose it here,
fiddling with his gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Will you put that thing away?
Yeah. And I think it's because he feels ownership for it all, doesn't he? I think he feels incredibly responsible for what has happened. For the fact that Michael got out of his care, and for the fact that 3, 4, whatever you want to count, Mr. Phelps or not, and a dog or 2 dogs died this particular night. So, Loomis in Halloween 2, I love his performance as much as I do in Halloween 1. For me, the movie is, I was very young when I saw it. I was probably 10 or 12 or something like that. And so the transition between the two movies, for me, is kind of seamless. Mm-hmm. You've got the same crew working on the film pretty much. And the same locations. Nowadays, when I look at it, I can see, well, that looks slightly different to that. And Loomis's lapels piss me off. That's always been a bugbear of mine, that his lapels are bigger in Halloween 2 than they are in Halloween 1, given it's the same night.
Let it go.
I will let it go one day. But for me, it's kind of a seamless transition. It does feel like it's the same night. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see whether Halloween and Halloween Kills has that same effect, whether you feel like you're in the same, an hour later from what happened in the events of Halloween 18. And I never had a problem with Dick Warlock's performance either. I know the mask looks slightly different, and you see his eyes a lot more than you do in. Well, I don't think you see Nick Castle's eyes once, do you? In the original Halloween, no,
not while wearing the mask.
Yeah. So I never had a problem with Dick Warlock and all this kind of people saying he's a bit robotic, and he's been shot. He's been shot and stabbed, so he's going to walk slightly differently.
He's not going to run.
No, exactly, yeah. And it just doesn't bother me at all that it's a different Michael. I think he did a really admirable job. It's not as good as Nick Castle, but I honestly think it's the closest to the OG that we've had throughout the franchise, more so than Halloween 18.
Excellent. Loomis was my favorite in the first one, so I'm going to change it. And even though he had a small role, it was an impacting role for me. And that was Deputy Hunt. After he takes over the scene, so Lee could go grieve with his wife that they just lost their daughter, and he's the one out of everybody that at the old law enforcement that believes Loomis now. He's like, we're gonna, go check it again. But we went all over the place. I want you to check it again. I don't care. Check. Start from the one side of town. Start from, the other side of town as well, and come in the middle. He's the first one that actually told Lee about Annie. Told him to go home. I'll take care of it, and did whatever Loomis thought was right and agreed with. Checking Ben Tramer's teeth, to see if that was actually Michael. But yeah, for me, Deputy Hunt, I wish he would come back. If he came back in 4, it would just be like, oh my God, you're back. Don't tell me Michael's coming back. But Meeker's good. We'll get to that at some point. But yeah, for me, Deputy Hunt is a man who looks like he can take care of the situation. He could be in charge. Yeah.
No, I agree. It was a good character. I saw an interview with Sean Clark recently, and one of the questions that he was asked was, is there an actor that you've tried to get to your conventions who just isn't interested at all? And the gentleman who played Deputy Hunt, a guy by the name of Hunter von Leer, who no longer is an actor. I think he's quite old now as well. He's kind of in his late 70s or early 80s. He's just turns it down all the time. He's just not interested. It's a kind of different life that he had, and no matter how much Sean Clark tries to tempt him to go along to a convention, he's just apparently just politely refuses. Which is a shame. Man. Yeah. He's got the kind of Flash Gordon type hair, hasn't he?
Okay, so what is your worst character?
So my worst character it's Jamie Lee Curtis's wig. That thing
is a character.
Deserves a credit of its own.
All forehead she is.
It's terrible, isn't it? She'd obviously, I think she'd had slightly shorter hair for the Fog, and which was done, I guess, a few months before, maybe 6-8 months before this. But also she did a TV movie which was a sort of Private Benjamin ripoff called She's in the Army Now with Melanie Griffiths. And yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis had shorter hair for that film, so it probably wasn't the quite length that they needed for Halloween 2. She didn't have time to grow it out, and so they put this really dodgy kind of almost looks like polyester rug on her head.
B-52.
It's like really frizzy and everything, isn't it? And it doesn't sort of sit down her face. It's a
comic.
It's kind of like,
it's like Mars Attacks.
It is. It's huge. And that's, as I spoke about earlier about the continuity between 1 and 2, I think that is one of the things for me that kind of nowadays you look at, because you can see especially with Blu-ray version, you can see the fucking seam on her forehead.
And one stray hair coming out underneath it.
Yeah. So the worst character for me in Halloween 2 is definitely Jamie Lee Curtis's toque, her wig.
All right, for me, it's Bud. My next one, my worst character is Bud. Bud. We know that Bud is a creep. He actually has one of the worst deaths in that movie too.
Does he get garroted?
He gets strangled. I think it's strangled. And
isn't it like a cheese wire or something?
It's like the jerky motion too.
Yeah.
But he knows how to tie a towel. That towel stays.
He's good at that. I've always thought that.
but he's such a prick and a pervert that he gets one of the hottest nurses, my favorite nurse of all time in a movie, Pamela, and doesn't know how to treat her right. And the best scene ever in that movie is the hot tub. But no, I got an actual scene.
You couldn't not talk about it, Frank.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. It's a childhood favorite. But yeah, Bud. You know what? But for my wife, as I was going through this list, she thinks Jimmy is the worst character because he's a hidden pervert and a hidden creep.
Why is he?
Bud, Bud, no, Bud is a piece of shit.
You know where you stand, yeah.
Yeah. But Jimmy always keeps coming in, showing that my wife said Jimmy's the type of guy that would, treat you nice, be charming, but would go to your room and steal your underwear and keep it. Oh, I found these. I don't know.
He'd definitely borrow your rollers.
Fucking perm.
Both of them with these perms.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you're wearing my wig today. Switch hairs, can you? All right, so what is for you the best line of Halloween 2?
Technically, this is a line from Halloween, but it's in Halloween 2. If you read Curtis Richards' novelization of Halloween, which I think came out in 1979, at the end of the movie, the line, "Is this some kind of joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight." And Loomis replies, "You don't know what death is."
Is this some kind of joke? I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is.
Was originally in the Halloween novelization and was taken and put into the script for Halloween 2. And for me, that's the that's my favorite line in the film. And again, a slightly brusque tone from Donald Pleasance, kind of as he's frantically trying to find out what happened to Michael. And again, another shot where that kind of English accent comes out. You don't know what death is. You know.
Great opening.
Yeah, it's a terrific opening, and it's interesting if you watch the trailers for Halloween 2. The gentleman who comes out of the house sounds totally different.
Yes,
he's a really angry man. I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight.
This is some kind of a joke. I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight. You don't know what death is.
But in the movie, Tommy Lee Wallace overdubbed him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a lot more sort of placid, and it's a more sort of concerned tone rather than...
like you just woke him up out of bed.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Blah,
Yeah.
Well, he didn't open the fucking door for Laurie in the first one, you piece of shit.
Oh, was it him? Is that who it was?
Next door neighbor. Yeah. We could have avoided all this bullshit. That's what Loomis said. You could have opened the door for her. You did it. You Now look, I got blood all over my fingers. I can't wipe it off. Piece of shit.
It's amazing how quickly lawn grows as well, isn't it? Because when he's shot out of the window in Halloween 1, you look down on him, he's just on a load of dirt. But when Pleasance comes out of the house in Halloween 2, about 3 inches of grass has grown since in 2 minutes.
Or he landed pretty fucking hard.
He did, because he looked like there was like a cartoon imprint on the grass as well, wasn't there? Yeah, no, it's that's my favorite line. You don't know what death is.
Okay.
And the introduction to that movie begins. It's so good.
And it's on another T-shirt, isn't it? You don't know what death is. It's another line. Yeah, it's another line.
Not in the UK. We don't have any of that stuff over here, unfortunately.
Boring. You guys are all, like, you got to be better than everyone.
We're all too busy drinking tea and worrying about our bad teeth.
Archie Leach, you don't know what it's like being so prop all the time. So for me, my best line is probably the best comedic line in the franchise, and that's Loomis yelling at the deputy, "What is it you guys do? Fire warning shot, right?" Shoots the fucking window out. I laugh so hard every time that line comes on, because every time there's a line about Michael, there's a line about how death is coming to this town that we got into the first one, and like you said, Loomis is so unhinged in this part because he knows how powerful Michael is that he's willing to blow off a marshal's head in order to make him turn around. But instead, he fires at the window, and we see that, and we hear it, and that car turns around really quick and goes back to Haddingfield.
He's like the worst deputy as well, isn't he? Yes. He's like a big fucking baby. At one point, he's almost crying.
Doctor, you're getting yourself in a lot of trouble here.
What have I got to lose? It's my job.
Now wait, I'm the only one who can operate that. Go on, move.
He is
He's
a
still
big
breathing.
baby.
Yeah. I said, get away from him.
He is. He's a pretty useless character. But
What is your worst line? Getting back to lines now. What is the worst line for you?
the Bud song. I can't. It just makes me cringe every time I hear
Shower,
it.
right? You need to shower.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's just. And is he smoking a joint in the
He's got
hospital?
a roach clip. Yep, he's got that little roach clip. He's like,
It's like it looks like the tweezer things that Nurse Karen has a pop at him at, later in the film. He's actually smoking a joint in the hospital.
it's like one of those. You don't inhale fully the joint. He's just take it in a little bit of it.
It's not the technique; it was the actual the actual fact that he had a joint in the hospital.
Okay. It's before it was
He's not
medicinal.
smoking it right.
Before it was actually used for medicinal purposes.
Oh dear.
Oh, okay.
So your worst line in Halloween 2?
It's a pointless scene, and it always bothers me that this guy got paid for saying this, and that's the other deputy in the school where he just goes over here and over here. No, here, over there, and here. It's like,
Just put the lights on.
you could say he could have just said it's over. There's one there, and there, and that's
Why
it.
are they in the dark?
It's just a flashlight.
What did Michael do? Cut the electric to the school?
Did he finish some kid's spelling exam? They're just like, he's here. Okay. Is that it? No.
Over
here. It's like, just get on with it. Did you get paid by the line and made it so drawn out that you made sure you got more money? Over here? No, here. Sister. Okay. How did you figure that out? Is that it? No. Here. Samhain. It means the Lord of the Dead. Every October.
Sarwayne. Donald.
Samhain. Yeah, for me, it's the here, and here, and here.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
pretty, lame. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting to some of the best stuff and the worst
Okay.
stuff. But what is your best kill in Halloween 2?
So my favorite kill in Halloween 2 is not a direct Myers kill. It's an indirect Myers kill. And that's the death of Ben Tramer. It's such a violent and graphic kill. It just doesn't hold back at all. And although it's an accident, it like I say, it doesn't cut away at all. You see the whole thing happen before your eyes. So the kid gets hit by the car. You see it slam into him. It drags him across the road and then sandwiches him between another police car, doesn't it?
Silver Shamrock van.
Yeah. And then if that's not bad enough that the guy hasn't been cut in half, he's then burnt alive. And again, we see this happen before our eyes. It's a really nasty, grisly kill.
You would
And
hope he died instantly. You would hope.
Yeah, I think the first kill in the film where the girl gets stabbed in the throat is nasty. It's the noise that makes when the knife goes in, but it's kind of off camera. But I think this kill kind of sets the tone for the rest of the movie. You're like, shit, we haven't seen anything this graphic before in a Halloween movie, and right, okay, it's going to kick off from now on, and it does. The kills in this film were more in tune with the slashers that were out at the time, and not in tune with the original kind of Halloween tone.
So my favorite and I think the best kill is Nurse Jill, getting lifted up with a scalpel in the back by Michael. Again, a pure sign of strength. Just him going up. She's still moaning and crying. You see the fuzziness of Laurie's point of view because she's all drugged up. And then at the end, her shoes fall off because of the gravity of how high she's up. I don't need to explain anymore because I think that's iconic within itself. Michael's pure strength and does it with a little knife this time instead of a bigger one. Nurse Jill in the back being lifted.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that I guess the Myers character appeals to me, because there's something really off-putting and really creepy about somebody who's just an average build having the strength that he does have. And when you get to the likes of George Wilbur, Don Shanks, and even James Jude Courtney, these are what's his face from Tyler Mane. These guys are big hulking guys that are not far away from being able to do some of the stuff that Myers can actually do. But when you look at the likes of Dick Warlock and Nick Castle, who are 5'10" and 5'9" or something like that, it's something really off-putting and unsavory about that strength that they have, which kind of adds that layer of mystique and menace to Michael. I agree with you. That is a great kill. And the clogs dropping off and everything just before she falls. In a hospital where there's no patients.
Well, everything's dark.
Everything's dark. There's no patients. We just got like half a dozen babies. And no one else. No mothers. Nothing.
Nothing. What is your worst kill?
So my worst kill it's confusing. It depends. This is kind of up for debate, I think, and please, guys, chat about it in the section below, in the chat room below. I don't know what happens to Jimmy, because he just slips on his arse and knocks himself out. The next thing, he appears in the car park, and
that's also a worst moment.
Yeah, it's just unclear. Out. Yeah, I don't know why does he pass out on the wheel like that?
Well, maybe he was getting a handy from Laurie in the seat.
Can you imagine?
See, he's like, "Oh, thank you, Laurie." Where else do you do that stuff besides a parked car?
It's
digress.
It's like, well, I mean, because they make such a big thing about Jimmy throughout the whole film, and he's this kind of, he's an ear for Jamie Lee Curtis throughout the movie, and he shows a lot of compassion and sympathy for her, and he just sort of, we don't know what happens to him. Does he die? I know that in the TV edition, he's in the ambulance at the end, and there's that kind of moment where she thinks the shape's at the side of her and sits up. But in the canon version, what happens to him? I don't know. Is he a statistic at the end when they said what's the count? I can't remember what the number was now. Was it 10 or something like that?
10 so far.
Yeah. Does that include Jimmy?
We don't know.
Interesting.
I haven't done the math and thought about it. But I'm sure there's definitely a list out there. But yeah, do you consider Jimmy a victim? Besides not having, hospital-issued shoes to protect him from slipping on shit.
His little white sneakers. Yeah. And also, you would have thought that fucking perm would have protected that fall. He goes down so hard on the back of his head.
Yeah. And who would know, Mrs. Alice, had so much fucking blood in her.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. My worst kill is Alice.
Okay.
I can tell you why. We don't see it. We only hear it. And where does Michael pop out of? She looks in that direction where he comes out of. Is it behind a sofa? All of a sudden, it's just like, he just jumps out and just stabs her. You don't even see it. You just see blood. Someone just threw blood on her neck.
I kind of like that kill.
It's for me, it's a missed opportunity. They could have showed something. Behind the scenes, they do show, him stabbing the knife in her neck. I seen behind the scenes photos of that, but him popping out, just jumping.
Yeah, he just kind of jump a bit weirdly, doesn't he? He's like,
yeah, was he crouched down?
Well, that's it. I mean, like this. I know in the last episode we spoke about all these kind of unseen moments of Myers that it'd been nice to have a camera on him while he was preparing for a lot of these scenes, and there's a few bits in the original Halloween where he's like kind of hiding behind cars, and he stands up. I think it's the moment where Laurie runs across the road with one of the kids to the Doyle house.
Oh, Annie. Annie does.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Annie, that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Lindsay. Yep.
And he kind of steps up, doesn't he? Yeah. And, you know, what was he doing? Just crouching behind the tyre for ages, waiting for that little moment. Yeah. And how does he prepare for that? It's just going to look weird, isn't it? You know?
Yeah. But for me, it's just I need that kill. It's the start of Myers killing again, and him jumping out. Fuck, I don't see him ever jumping. But yeah, for me, it's Alice, the person. Yeah. All right, now, as always, we're going to end with this with every movie in the series. Well, the ones we're going to talk about. Your best moment that defines and wraps up Halloween 2 for you.
I've kind of got a tie here. Okay. I can't choose between these two moments. In fact, I've got three. That whole kind of last 10, 15 minutes for me in Halloween 2, there's a few moments within there that I think are just like amazing for me. Like, as a kid watching them, I was like,
you probably have one of my moments in there too.
Staggered by his strength and by the way that they portray him on screen. I think the first best moment of this is probably the bit when Laurie's crawling across the car park, unable to shout, and Myers just steps out underneath that red light.
Damn it, you took it. Let's talk about it.
His face when he appears under that red light.
Oh, it's creepy as hell.
And it is. And the music as it boom, as he just steps out is terrific. And the mask looks great and the stance looks great. And then you just see him slowly walking in the distance. The lighting's terrific. It's that would be one of my favorite moments.
It was like he was waiting for her, right? He didn't know where she was.
No.
And then when she came out of the car and started crawling and getting up, he was like, "Now I got you. Now I know where you are. Now I'm coming. I waited for you in the background." That's
exactly
That's what he does. He just waits. You make your mistake. I don't make the mistake for you. I finished the mistake. I corrected your mistake.
Exactly. It's terrific. I think there's that. I think the bit where the bit with the deputy. And Pleasance is losing his mind, going,
"Get away from him!"
Yeah, no, he's not. Don't presume. More Cockney coming out. Yeah. The bit where he walks through the sheet glass door. Mm-hmm. It's just that unstoppable, relentless force, isn't it? And nothing too, not really jumping the shark. I know he's been shot 6 times, but when you compare it to what they did in subsequent episodes of him, getting run over and going down mine shafts after being shot with shotguns for 10 minutes, and what else is there? Burnt alive and all that kind of stuff.
Electrocuted, just all that stuff.
These really subtle displays of kind of superhuman power. In Halloween 2, I just think there's some really great moments. So the punching through the door, like I say, walking through the sheet glass. The bit when he just sits up really quickly and spins the deputy over his knee and cuts his throat. That I think that's really shot well. Is
walking on fire?
Yeah, well, that was my final one. Oh. I think the Dick Warlock stunt in that is, as a fire stunt. And this is before the days of CG. This was an actual stunt that he did. I don't think I've seen anyone burn as heavily as that on camera. You can look at movies like Backdraft and The Towering Inferno and things like that, and people's backs are on fire and they're running around. Yeah. Even Friday the 13th, when Jason was burning, was nothing like this.
He was engulfed.
It's absolutely, it's on fire so much that you can barely work out that there's a man underneath it all. it's an amazing stunt, and I'd look it lasts for quite a while as well. I'd love to know how long they could, he could hold that for. I mean, you can tell that he's got protective clothing on and all that kind of thing, but
it's not cool underneath his suit. It's
no. I just think it's a really underrated moment in cinema history.
In special effects history.
I've never seen anybody burn on camera like that before.
And he survived that with no scars, I believe.
Yeah.
Jesus.
A couple of marks on the back of his hands here.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
and Loomis's nipple in part 4, which we'll get to eventually.
It's Halloween 2, I have to admit, was when I saw that. I went backwards. My mom took me to see Halloween 4. Then my dad and I rented Halloween 2. And then all of a sudden they said, why don't you watch the first one? God damn it. Where was the first one? But I went backwards. And of course, one of my favorite actresses is in it, Pamela. I've said that non.
One of your favorite actresses? Yes. Why would you call her that?
Because she is.
What the what else has she been in?
She's done a couple episodes of Knight Rider. She's done a couple TV movies. It's just very beautiful, very beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it's a couple Knots Landing episodes.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah.
Bold and the Beautiful. Yeah.
But I'm glad.
The shampoo commercial once, right?
Schick, leg shaver. Chic. Halloween 2 for me is probably one of the ultimate sequels of a slasher. Like you said, it takes place on the same night. It does a great job making it like maybe only an hour ahead of when the events actually happen. It's seamless. It's believable, and I just have great fun with it. Great fun with it when I watch it.
Agreed.
All right, so we're going to take a break from Michael Myers, and we're going to continue with the franchise in order, and we're going to be discussing Season of the Witch, Halloween 3 in our next episode. As Darren says, I'm going to say it this time, like and subscribe, leave some comments. What is your favorite and worst moments of Halloween 2? I mean, there's so many best moments, but there are some worst moments, as we said throughout this show. We're going to continue. We'll continue with Atkins and his ass grabbing, and we're not going to get drunk for this. The next one, Darren. Any final thoughts on Halloween 2? What it means to you?
I put them together. I do put them together. I consider them almost like one movie. Mm-hmm. I'm disappointed that it was, not part of canon when Halloween Kills came out.
Agreed.
For a few reasons. I don't mind the sister angle. I much prefer the sister angle to the Thorn side of things. Whenever I watch Halloween, I always feel the urge to put on Halloween 2 straight away. And I did that this morning. I never feel the urge to put on Halloween 2018 straight after.
Yeah.
Whether that's just because, of how I was brought up with these movies, or it genuinely is a better sequel than Halloween 2018 is. If you were to ask me, it would be 1, 2, 4, and Halloween 2018.
Yep, that would be my ranking as well. But thank you, Dick.
Good old Dick. Good old Dick.
As always, stick to the roads.
And the best of luck.